What is up, and welcome to part 2 of our lore session discussions, number 5. So we split about halfway down the middle there on this video just to get all the content. There was a lot of discussion there, so I really hope you enjoy the first one. And now this is part 2, doubling down this week, so you get 2 episodes this week. Kind of make up for what we didn't produce last week. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the video. Make sure you hit a like on the video, share it with a friend. Also, drop me a follow. You all have a great, wonderful rest of your evening. Assassin is out.
So it brings the question then, so now we're moving forward. Osiris figures into the new expansion. Lightfall. He's mentioned in the what do you call it? The copy from the collector's edition
art.
Yeah, he's in the promotional art. Saint's been talking about him. You know, like he's definitely going to be part of what's coming. So the question becomes, what is his part? My thought right now is it has to do with him, Rasputin, and connecting to Neomuna.
Well, one thing I will say, we can't really put Rasputin in this. We don't know much about what Rasputin has to do with the city of Neptune. We don't know anything about Neo-Neptuna, really. And all the stuff we do know is just theorizing about it. Like, just theories about stuff like the Nephil Stronghold, which, even then, we don't have any confirmation on what that is. We don't know.
Right, that's kind of what I was thinking. The Nepheli Stronghold, I think, is kind of going to be renamed, in a sense, to Neomuna. I feel like that...
Yeah. Has that been confirmed on Neptune or what? I have not read up on that.
No, I haven't heard. That's been a curiosity of mine, because I thought it was that way, right? The Nepheli Stronghold was Neptune or something like that.
It is very most likely that, if that makes sense, you know? Because even though technically Neptune is a gas or is an ice giant, it's like considered like still kind of considered like a cloud planet, right? And then Nepheli was like some cloud creature. It's most likely, I think.
Right, I think it'll end up being like code words or something that are going to
like
be Neomuna.
Like yeah. But it's not official, if that makes sense. Heavily hinted, I would say. Or maybe not heavily hinted, but hinted.
Yeah, and since it's been mentioned in Rasputin's, memory, or however they want to call it, and we know that kind of there's little lore things here and there of Anna trying to get Rasputin in the exobody. And then I'll connect it with Osiris and Rasputin having a certain relationship, which is interesting. I feel like that's going to be, where we connect, because I don't know how else. Yeah. I don't know how else Osiris is going to connect with us and Neomuna, unless he's our darkness person here and he helps expand. See, I don't. That doesn't connect either for me. It's tough.
Did I get my point?
Yeah.
So, first off, I was reading up on the Nephil Stronghold and all that. We have not seen anything about it, but it's mention of its name, and it being a human colony. So, could it be related? Definitely. Is there a chance that it's not? Also, definitely. But another thing to point out what you were talking about, from what the collector's edition is saying and all that, and from what I'm reading, it may be that Osiris knows of some existence of Neo Luna or has heard rumors of it.
Right.
Has heard because what we see from the collector's edition is most likely, if he's not awake by then, it most likely is from the Mindscape. The technology that we have with the Mindscape will definitely maybe use on Osiris so that we can see.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, I like that.
Because here's the other thing. It literally says it in the collector's edition tab. Study Ikoris notes about Osiris' vision of hope on Neptune.
Yeah, I was just reading that like about 30 seconds before you started talking.
But,
So go real quick, and I'm not trying to cut you off. You can go right back to your point. Just a real quick question. So I'm looking at you. You put it out last week in the lore chat, and they're in the collector's edition. You have the puka or whatever, and then am I to understand? Is those lore cards off to the right, like, or are those the seasonal? Or are those seasonal?
Basically, every time a collector's edition is released, though you guys may not have paid attention to it previously, for every season there's been sort of like a collector's edition lore book. Like physical lore page and stuff like that. Or maybe something that people have to decipher in an ARG. That would be
this is what I'm talking about. This is our Osiris symbol right here.
What we've seen, like in the Beyond Light or Witch Queen ones, it was notes on sort of like just the Hive, the Cabal, and all that. It just sort of maybe like it doesn't necessarily tie in directly to the season, but it does tie in some way.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah.
Like, for example, Destiny 2, like, launch, right? You have, what's it? Gary Gall was the main guy, main story. But, like, the collector's edition had a bunch of lore on, like, Callus and that stuff. Like, it's, and I think Shadowkeep, if I remember correctly, had Zulmak lore. Something with a cryptoglyph.
And then there was the Beyond Light, which talked about the Deep Stone Crypt and LC Bray.
Yeah, it's related, maybe not directly to, doesn't have to be the raid, doesn't have to be a dungeon or whatnot, or even the campaign, but it's something about
background.
Background. Like, I think Witch Queen, we also got some of Ikora's journals.
Oh yeah, and Beyond Light, if I remember correctly, there was a note about how Europa had a quarantine on it, which was not allowed to be visited. So the lore that is included there is not necessarily directly related to Lightfall, but it gives background on it. Maybe on the Cloud Striders, maybe on Neo Neptuna. We honestly don't know what it would be about.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was gonna say something, and I forgot.
Well, I completely cut off Frozen because I was like,
"All right." Yeah. Let me try to remember where I was.
Yeah, I just didn't want to lose that spot because that was a perfect spot to talk about it. So
we were talking about this guy, right?
Oh no! Before that, Osiris' vision of hope, and now it says in collector's.
Yes. Yeah. I remember what I need.
Yeah, like I was saying, especially with the Mindscape technology, we could definitely use that on Osiris, or maybe even some of Osiris's notes that Ikora found in his room, so to speak.
Yeah.
Either Savathun's or Osiris's. Since we do know that Osiris has a lot of notes and stuff that were just scattered, not really organized.
I can hear pigeons chomping at the bit right now. I can hear him.
Yeah. So I watched I was actually, it was this exact same thing. I was watching a Blythe video from last season because I was trying to. At first, I was trying to think about the lore card on the Sparrow from last season, the Trials one, where he's like in the water and then he washes ashore and he's like half Savathun and half that. And then, what's it? He was talking and it was like Mindscape technology, or even I forget exactly what it was, but it was like Callus's scions. He was basically theorizing about ways to go into Osiris's like brain or communicate with him.
Yeah, that was
And
Kaito and this.
No. He said something about Callus too, because it was something about like not the light since he was cut off. I forget the exact words, and I could look it up if you want to continue talking about it. But basically, I think that would be a very good segue into Beyond Light, because we know it has to, or not Beyond Light, Lightfall. We know it has to do something with Osiris's visions, right, from the Collector's edition. I don't know. I'm gonna try and find
now
this.
that you mention it, the fact that it talks about water and all that, and Callus, maybe what Osiris is saying is, well, since we don't know how exactly Savathun took control of Osiris, we do know he experienced something that, if I remember, was like drowning. In one of the, I think it was Season of the Lost Sword, but talked about him having a drowning feeling. And that brings up a point that I just thought about. What if what Osiris is saying is not really his visions? They are visions of someone else who was either A, taken by Savathun, or B, visions from the Witness, from the darkness that he's just seeing after he was suffocating in darkness for so long. Visions that he's seen of either the darkness's plan or whatever.
Don't we have a question of how far gone Osiris was while he was possessed? I think there's at least one mention where he says he could kind of see what was going on and
That was
Yeah.
see what was happening, but couldn't affect it at all.
Yeah.
So he was kind of conscious of it.
No.
I'm not sure
That was
exactly
a
what
wolf
the thing
tone
was.
draw. That was a wolf tone draw. He was basically like he was in water. He was drowned. He was resurfacing for what?
I'll find it. Was
Yeah, I have something pulled up that I can read, but I want
please.
to let Frozen finish his what he's saying first, and then
I
I'll.
think it may be this one because it just talks about him seeing pieces of different times, like him seeing one small piece, like first the awoken prince, then it going out, then seeing a glimmer of sunlight, and it says, how long has it been? Then he sees Zavala talking to Savathun or his body. Then he cuts out again and sees Ikora, then cuts out again and sees Lakshmi, then it cuts out again. It says, I'm weeping, what was it? I hear his voice and
push the surface, yeah.
And see saints. He's weeping, but I cannot weep. I am nothing, only heat and hate, only sickness and shame. So, from what that bow is telling us, he was basically seeing glimpses.
He had some brief. I mean, it said he had brief moments of consciousness that he couldn't react to. He could see. It was like looking at it through somebody else's eyes, but he could watch it happen, but he couldn't affect it, so to speak.
Right, and my point for bringing that up is just to talk about maybe knowledge he could have gained because he was kind of seeing things that maybe he wouldn't have because he was kind of
Well,
looking through
But-
Savathun's eyes. Does he? You get what I'm trying to say? Like he might have learned something that way.
Yeah,
kind of.
before can I say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Before we go too far, Frozen, I don't want to. Anyway, Frozen was talking about Osiris darkness, like in his brain, right? And then I also want to mention what I was talking about with Callus and his scions, right? So, first of all, I just thought I should mention that in the Falcon's Chase Sparrow, if you guys want to look it up, the first line is "Darkness floods me like breath, expanding with each thought," which could hint at maybe this is the darkness, like Frozen said. And then he's also, I kind of forget where you were going with this, Frozen, but he does, like, he's at sea, and I think it mentions like drowning. Yeah, no choice but to drown, no point in swimming. Even the armored succumb to the depths. What chance have I? I thought maybe that could have some significance, with drown kind of being a darkness thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but like in the vow of the disciple, it's like drown in the deep, rise.
Right. Yeah, the deep has
And
become
then
kind of a synonym for the darkness, I guess.
yeah, and then one last thing. So Bife was talking. This is purely like Bife, but he mentioned. So we know the Keidel's Ascendancy Scions were able to like link with the Hive Guardians going to their brain. Now he was talking. Oh no, he says that is impossible because they need like the light to link it, I think. However, Callus's scions, he says Callus's scions back in the Leviathan were able to pull various members of our fire team into a nightmare realm, one that was completely under their control, one that was made of psychic energy, and though the Witch Queen's power, oh no, okay, the transcript is really bad. But basically, they can control
How
stuff,
old
right?
is that video?
June 13th, 2022,
Okay, so
the last season.
yeah, but my issue with that is I'm not sure where he gets the idea that the science pulls in to a nightmare of realm of darkness. So, because what we see in stuff like the Duality Dungeon from last season is Eris's work.
I'm pretty sure he's talking about OG Leviathan with the big callus head that shoots the skulls at you.
Oh, that
Pretty sure he's talking about that.
that was
I don't
more
know.
of Calusars and his scion, since Calus has some psionic ability. But even
I mean, but if they have control over it, right?
yeah, but even then,
Anyway.
you have to realize that while that probably wouldn't have worked for Osiris, since we don't know where Calus's mind or body was when that happened, since we're just fighting a robot.
Yeah, for sure.
That it's hard to sure about. But I'm reading more on the Falcon's Chase Sparrow, and as I read it, it doesn't really sound like recent.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was.
No,
Well,
it
look, I
is
mean-
from the Falcon's Chase Sparrow. I'm just reading. Comes with Sanus. No, very gripping claws.
Well, while he's reading, I'm just gonna throw something out there that I'm staring at in the Lightfall promo image. Osiris is awake. Right? He's staring at me right now.
Well,
Right.
that's the thing. we don't know
So
much about.
yeah, like
Oh,
his visions and stuff. So Ikora's notes of his visions. I'm not so sure they're from a mindscape or anything like that. They might be from his mouth, and he may be waking up and not strong enough to
yeah,
get out of bed at some point. He's definitely waking up. You're staring at his
yeah.
eye. So I don't know why we're saying no.
Well,
But regardless, like, he's here. You know?
let me pull up the promo image. I'm trying to find where it is.
Yeah, I mean, his eyes are open for sure. I mean, you can see his left eye there.
Right. Right. So I would believe if Ikora had notes of his vision, I think it could be quite simply that she sat and spoke to him.
Maybe. Well, we don't really know how that story is going to play out just yet. So maybe it's possible. However,
Right.
I
I'm
think that
just not ready to say no to things. I'm saying
Right.
that's certainly possible,
Plausible for sure.
especially given their relationship.
Yeah.
So I don't. What I'm saying, I don't think we have to dive into like, oh, they got a mindscape thing in this nightmare room. I don't know if it needs to go that far. Is all I'm saying. Like, if Ikora has notes of things from Osiris, easy answer is it's from a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say something I feel like has to happen. Like either we do something with the mindscape, or I think a catalyst has to have it, because the lore that I read from this season and even last season, it feels like nothing is happening. Is that crazy for me to say? I feel like
No, Saint's
he's
just
just
holding
kind of,
vigil and nothing's changing, kind of thing.
yeah, like Saint is just like desperately trying to like comfort him, but nothing regarding Osiris is changing at all. You know, he's just kind of still in bed in a coma. You know,
As he has been since Savathun relinquished him or whatever, right?
yeah, I feel like a catalyst needs to happen. I don't know.
You guys ready for something?
Yeah.
We
I'm
still have
building.
an
I'm building.
entire.
You let me know when you're ready.
Alright, give me 1 second. Let me
Yep,
make my
yep,
final
yep.
point. First, we still have an entire season, so we'll see what happens next season and all that. But like Peyton says, I don't think he'll straight away. Or just wake up like it was from a coma. Also, Falcon's Chase Core book. I'm reading more into this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell if this is like a new vision or old, like from the from the reason I'm saying maybe an older one is because of the final line. A familiar voice calls out, "Summer since the abyss, incomprehensible but sweet. I think I heard the fluttering of wings, but the hum of the sundial gives no direction." I think this may be old during the time he was still searching for Osiris. Especially that last line. How long has it been?
Do you mean searching for Saint?
Saint, that's right.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, but
That doesn't explain Savathun, though. Am I wrong?
Let me read this.
If he is, because he has to remind himself that he is a human, which didn't happen until Savathun crawled into his body. You know what I mean? Like he thinks he has an exoskeleton. For God's sake. I mean, unless I'm missing something, it at the very least has to be during Savathun controlling his body. At the least, you know. But they have all these references to like he think, or let me read it.
So
glimpsing at my own infinite reflections, some shine gold, some burn sickly green, the hive color. And then some fade as soon as they're witnessed.
Right,
Like,
and then I washed up on shattered stone breakwater. I do not know my limbs. I want what? The craving pit echoing deep within me. What does it seek? I would crawl inland if I owned myself, if only to make the hungering stop. I mean, I think that's a pretty telling line, or dialogue there within it, because he obviously doesn't have control over himself, but he doesn't know what he seeks.
Is
which
he
I
oddly
mean,
referencing a worm there?
yeah, I think
I think it's
Oh,
maybe Savathun's and his memories mixed together.
This potential.
yeah, I think it is him during that, right? Him being in control, or him
Feeding
suffering
from
so
her.
much psychological damage that he can't tell his own memories from Savathun's. I don't know.
Yes.
That's my take on this.
So it's like the world erupts beneath me. Stone becomes quicksand in an instant. I struggle, fear before thought, and it swallows me all the faster. I reach for aid. My hand is held. Saint? Question mark. So it definitely it makes me feel like the hand would be Savathun's there. That they're in this together, so to speak, through all that. It's obviously not Saint, so like there's a presence with him, and he would feel.
I mean, couldn't it be Saint though? Because there
Next
is
paragraph.
literal right of Saint
It's the
holding
next
his hand
paragraph.
though, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying the next paragraph. My fingers brushed through the open air, met and said by grip claws.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I feel like, yeah,
Oh, never
that
mind. Yeah.
it feels like now that I read that more, that's more of Savathun.
I know these light sharpened talons.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, yeah. That's definitely Savathun. He is holding Savathun's hand, so to speak.
Fluttering of wings, but
Yeah. So that tells you.
In this last paragraph, now that I read that was that perspective, maybe he's sort of in a state of like the fluttering of wings. We know Saint has a strong connection with pigeons, plus the hum of the sundial. We, assuming he's moved the sundial with him, we may be able to assume that this may be him in a state of semi-awake.
Right. He's semi-conscious at this point.
Yeah.
So another you were talking about his own his infinite reflections. It's like that some burn sickly green, some fade as soon as they are witnessed. I cannot guess which one is real. Perhaps one is her. Perhaps I am her. My senses lie. So that, I mean, like that's again, it's about his possession. It's definitely his possession is what this is speaking of, and him inside that possession.
I feel like it's more of him still recovering from it. Him still unsure which is the real Osiris.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
But all right, so let us bring forth must place ongoing, developing, meaty, juicy theory that we got going.
I'm just gonna say, depending on how it goes, I may agree with it, deny it.
Well, I'm almost sure you're going to disagree. It seems to be the way things go anyway. That's all right. I don't mind because I don't mind being wrong and I don't mind guessing. And I fully understand that my guesses may not be right, but that's all right. We're going to throw them out there anyway and have some fun here. I'm going to connect a bunch of things right now that have been going on throughout this season, a few seasons ago, all the way, and lead it up to Lightfall. So we know some things here. One, Osiris in a coma does not show any signs of coming out. We all agree something's got to get him out.
I think I know where you're going with this already, but yes. Yeah,
we're going to get there. Yes, sir. And it's easy to see where I'm going because it just makes sense. But we also know we have this connection between Saint and Mithrax. We know that Mithrax has even asked about Osiris. has shown some concern there, right? And then this season, we have spent time collecting pieces of our good friend Nezarec. And we do know. We do
I see
know.
this.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah,
We do know that there is some power here of what you may call resurrection, but
could be restoration too.
could be restoration too. And it seems to fit in like a glove right here with the Mithrax and Saints.
I truthfully
connect
suspected this myself.
Let's wake up Osiris. I think I have a way. Like it's all it all fits in really nicely in my head and gets us Osiris. And then we can go back to the lore you guys were just talking about, where it seemed like some thoughts of Osiris and Savathun were mixed. And I think that goes back to my idea that Osiris may have gained some knowledge from Savathun. That the possession was not necessarily so
I
one-sided.
like this theory.
And I think that Osiris is going to pass that knowledge on to the Guardian. And it's quite possible, like I said, he's going to be really weak when he first wakes up. And it may be that he passes the information to Ikora, to us, until he gains his strength to join us on Neptune.
I have so much that I'm going to have to try to... I'm going to debate him.
Yeah, please. No, I mean, I built that, as we were going through tonight, I kind of tooled around with it and listened, and a lot of it seems to fit pretty good. We know Osiris is going to be awake. There's no question about that. And we know something has to do it.
Yep, I get it. I get
now we're
that.
given something. It all just it goes really nicely.
But does it now? My big problem with this theory is it relies on the fact of, and even ignoring that fact that we don't know their power, we don't know what kind of identity crisis this would cause Osiris to have even more. Because what you have to realize is, even though there is a small chance at that this could work, would Saint take that risk? Would even Ikora let them? Because what you have to realize is, we don't know much about the relics of Nezarec. We know that Nezarec had some powers, but would doing this change Osiris even more than he is now, give him an even bigger identity crisis? And to put on your part about retaining some knowledge from Savathun, my issue is I don't think this is knowledge more so. This is more so less knowledge and more of her memories, which what we've seen from what we saw in her strong world are those memories, or what we've read from the books of sorrow from the strong world, from every source of the hive and these origins. Those sort of coincide. It may give us some more info on the collapse, but we also have to realize, would he be able to decipher what those mean? Because as of right now, his mind is in such a fractured state that he can't decipher who he really is. He can't decipher if he's Savathun or Osiris. And this brings up a big issue with your theory. If he were to have some knowledge from it, maybe of the collapse, how much of it would he either A, be able to decipher, B, be able to remember? Since all the stuff that happened before, like during his possession, we already know, because Osiris was mainly with our guardian, with the tower, with the city. And those glimpses he sees, as in the Wolftone Draw bow, show that what he was seeing were things that Savathun saw beforehand. Plus, from what we're reading, we don't truly even know if those memories are old. Because now that I'm looking more at the description of Sparrow and all that, those could be recent memories. Could be stuff that Savathun that happened to Savathun while she was a city, while she was maybe captured, which, while they could be useful, we already know most of that information, most of what Savathun was doing, since most of that has been documented by Savathun in some way. And to even put more into that, now that I read that final message, it could, or the message up to 100 and all that, it could be maybe just brief flashes of her memories. We don't know how solid those are. And I'm back to the theory about the resurrection. The chance of that happening with Zarel is near none. Because one thing, how would, we don't have dark energy. Would Osiris' body in the state it's in even be able to handle it? He doesn't have the light. He doesn't have anything protecting him anymore. He doesn't have any sort of paracausal energy really with him anymore. So would the rugs just kill him straight away? Just kill him right if they are using him. Secondly,
Can I add something to that real quick to
Sure.
support it? So once again, back to new Trials of Osiris Loot. The ship has a lore card where it's like it says age wears lines into his face deeper than the trenches of Mercury, and then he looks thin and frail. He's, like Frozen said, I don't know if he can handle a darkness relic. He's in a very bad condition.
Right. Well, there's two ways to look at that, right? There's two ways to look at it. One is, even like Aramis said, like, hey, these things are dangerous. If you're not strong enough to hold them, it'll destroy you, right? Like Aramis said that to one of the pirate captains. Like, don't even try opening it. Like, you're not strong enough to hold it. Which, okay, certainly that's out there. We also know, however, that the relics can empower people, right?
Well,
so they have empowered people in the past, and Spider suggested to Mithrax that they gather the relics and use that power for themselves. So there is some empowerment function to them.
Okay. First up, we don't know if they actually empowered the Fallen, or if they were just a symbol they could use. We know that the Fallen fought over them, but we don't know what they actually do at all. We don't know what powers they have. Secondly, that spider thing was at the beginning of the season, or during the season before we had all relics. He might have said that the relics could have actually done something when they were brought together. But we don't know what they can do. And now that I think about it even more, if it was possible to revive Osiris with it, would they even take that risk? Because you have to realize, Saint wants Osiris back, but he also wants him the same man he knew, not someone else. Which we don't know what we know the Rugs have corrupting presence. That's one thing. Would he be corrupted by that power if they were using it? And this is only if they can be used. Since we know that Nezarec had some resurrection abilities, we don't know if those transfer on to the host, or if the host has to be living for it to transfer. Plus,
can I interject real fast? I'm just going to throw this out here. We don't know that they don't either, though. So as quick as we are to dismiss it, to Musplay's point, we don't know that they don't. So let's not be so quick to be dismissive of it. Be open-minded about it. Yes, I mean, like
it's like you don't know the answer one way or the other, so it's got to be no. Like that's an odd way to go. Like you don't know. I don't know either. Like we don't know. Like you're like no because I don't know. It's no I don't know. Like it's a weird way to go.
But it's ignoring that point. Let's just go back to that point that I was saying prior. Would Saint take the risk? Would he risk Osiris' life or body or well-being for him to be there.
Right. Here's the thing. Well, so let's just go completely off base, and let's dive into the theory of itself. Is what if there wasn't really? What if what if there's not a choice given? What if there's not an option? Or in a way, I don't know to what means. And again, I don't know. I'm just saying, what if there's not a like? What if he dies in the process, and the only way they could think to resurrect him would be try to do it? Would they do it? We don't. I mean, the next season. There's gonna be a climax to the end of this season, so we've got to figure out what the relics. And it's just a good running theory. Do I think the Vanguard would be on board for it? Absolutely not. We know that they don't approve of us using the darkness to any means. He doesn't condone. Zavala doesn't condone it. So it's not like we have not gone against the Vanguard before.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna throw more things out there that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Just to put them out there. We know right now Osiris's condition is not changing. We know. I think it can't be argued that Saint wants him back. I think those two things are factual right now. That Osiris's condition isn't changing and Saint wants him back. I think those are pretty factual. I think also. Looking forward, there's two things I wanted to throw out there. One is in this kind of vegetative state, I feel like just human body in general, the mind's going to heal, right? Like the body is going to heal itself in a lot of ways, right? That happens. Now. I think just to kind of put my things together, I think that Saint's going to, come to a point where he's so distraught and wants his love back, right? This is his love. This is not just his friend. This is not just his, comrade in arms or anything. He loves this man, right? You will do a lot of things for love that maybe don't always make sense. And I know that that's not necessarily, part of a story, but in a lot of ways it could be.
Goes into a factor of it.
Yeah. And then I think Ikora also has feelings for Osiris that are maybe even beyond normal things, right? That was her mentor. So I think what you may end up having is we need to do something to help Osiris. Here's our option that's coming. I think it's kind of how in my head that's kind of how it works out. And I think
we're still going strong, baby. We're still going strong.
Her knowledge.
You missed a pretty healthy debate about 5 minutes ago.
That way to, hey, look, I think we can make this happen, and based on what I've learned, I think I can do it, and that may be enough for Saint to
nice, bro.
And
showers are so refreshing, man.
For Mithrax to kind of
so fresh and so clean.
To say like, hey, here's what we've learned, and put it all together.
Just to say one thing, since I think I can articulate this better, about the whole human factor of
If you're talking about something else, can I?
It's so good. It's
okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
It got kind of heated a little bit.
I can definitely see that. Like it's in the lore. I have no clue where. I read it earlier. He had to like remove himself from last season, right? Just because he knew he would do something completely irrational if he saw like Osiris nightmares. So I mean, I can see it going either way. You know, like he needs to do something, or he's too scared to hurt Osiris to do something. I don't
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it going either way.
Do we have any knowledge of the relics being used to, or Netherrealm's healing factor being passed on through its pieces? Do we have any?
We don't know. We don't have any knowledge.
They didn't say anything about it in the one where we see Mithrax with the finger.
Yeah, we don't
They
really
mention
have
anything at all about it.
we know little to nothing about the relics themselves, other than they're powerful pieces of powerful artifacts. There's whether there's symbolism powerful as you brought. I mean, that's a very valid point. It could be looked at that way for sure. But we don't.
That's a question I have. Did they give
Wait,
Mithrax like darkness power?
I will say one thing from watching the cutscene while you guys were talking. The one thing I think we can be for sure know that the relics do is it says he like hungered for more, right? Like he got the finger, he was like, I need more like darkness relics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
We know that.
point I was trying to make earlier was we don't know the corrupting power drug, which we do have some evidence. Would they be willing to take a risk like that? Corrupt Osiris with darkness, since the whole idea of Nezarec being resurrected and all that, we don't know how that will turn out. I'm not going to deny your theory straight. What I will say is, again, on the point about even if there is an option, even if they are forced to do something like that, is this the only option that we know of? What would cause this to be the only option? Since
Or a good option.
yes, since even looking at Nezarec's relic, Nezarec being also touched by darkness, a disciple of the witness, we don't know how corrupting of a power that would be on someone in this frail of a state.
Right.
As Osiris. Plus, we have no knowledge of whether or not the relics can actually heal
Right.
their wielders, or any knowledge at all about whether Nezarec still has this healing factor, or if he ever. Because the whole healing thing, I think that was just a theory that we started with.
Yeah, the Nezarec lore.
Yeah.
That he's going to come back. So the whole resurrection thing is loosely, interpreted from.
Yeah, which.
The resurrection, I think, is how we correlate that to. I mean,
the big issue with it is it says he will be returned. It never says how. It never even says he has it doesn't really even mention a healing-like factor. It just says he will return. It's such a vague piece of lore to build this theory off of that.
Oh, sure, and I've twisted it to my means for sure.
Yeah, it's what makes it a theory, right? So I mean,
right.
One thing I might, I guess. Oh, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
The one thing that I will say is this: my big issue with the theory is there's nothing really fully grounding it. There's nothing, or not fully grounded. There's nothing that could, even not being so loosely tied, something that could directly tie towards it. Directly, in some way, support it, either a healing factor or some process that we know of.
Wait, hold up. I think I might have found something that, I don't know, subtracts from your theory. I'll say that instead of adds to it. Now, I am not very knowledgeable on this topic at all whatsoever. At all. But I was doing some I was doing some searching while you guys were talking, and I looked on the just so you guys know, the Destiny like Pedia or whatever for Nezarec, and it mentioned Curse of Nezarec, right? And in ancient dirge, the curse is alleged to drain the life of the user, though its purpose is also unknown. And then I saw some more posts talking about that. And that seems odd for them to use that to resurrect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I think if anything, that would be, killing Osiris. No, that's a bad thing. I feel like if anything, the curse is drain the health to heal Nezarec, not it would heal other people. If that makes any lick of sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I get you. Like
I
he's
just
a vampire,
yeah.
right? Like sucking the blood and taking the power of
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, this brings up was how the worms worked, was how the sword logic worked. If let's say in the way it feeds, like with Savasune, she fed off of lies, off of people believing her lies, people making theories, people speculate when she had her worm. That brings up maybe something similar with Nezarec, where if you wield one of his relics, wield a body part, wield him and kill or search for more pieces, it sort of drains your life force and gives it healing. Something like a touch of malice, like.
So my thoughts are on this, and I'm not going to get into it because this has gotten way crazy out of.
Anyway, do we want to try and wrap it up?